This is the Dealer Playbook, Episode 7, and today we're featuring our first fellow Canadian. And he hijacked the show, and rightfully so. Here we go.
You're dialed in to the Dealer Playbook podcast, where it's all about winning auto dealer strategies that deliver proven results. And now your hosts, Robert Weissman and Michael Cirillo.
Hey everybody, what is going on? Michael Cirillo and Robert Weissman here with the Dealer Playbook. Robert, what's going on, man?
What is up, everybody? Thanks for being here.
Hey, this episode, I'm really looking forward to. We had the opportunity to meet with a bona fide hustler, sales expert, car guy, Sean Moffett, who is really a really credible source about helping dealers, I want to say build their brand, but do it through creating such incredible experiences for the people who they work with. In other words, the people who purchase vehicles, to turn those people into evangelists. You've known Sean for quite some time. What can you tell us about him before we jump into this episode?
I mean, he knows his stuff, and he's got a good point about you want to turn your customers. Why wouldn't you want the people that already like you to be like raging lunatics, be your mouthpiece out there? Sean's got some great things under his belt. He's #1 sales expert to follow on Twitter. He's voted one of the top 10 business coaches on Twitter, 40 under 40 business award winner. I mean, he's got the credentials to back it up. So again, he's going to talk about turning your current clients, your customers, into advocates of your operation, of your brand. Let's go. This is a great interview. I mean, you're going to love it. And Sean does an excellent job. So, Michael, if there's nothing else, let's go in. All right, guys, enjoy. Okay, and everybody, and we are back, and we are here with my fellow masterminder in the Unfair Advantage Automotive Mastermind Group in Charlotte, Sean Moffett. Sean, man, thanks for the time, brother.
Thanks for having me here.
Good. So, listen. So, Sean's, guys, we mentioned his topic. He's going to talk about the how effective and what techniques we can take to turn our current clients, customers into advocates, meaning, advocates of the dealership, of the brand. And well, Sean, what I'll do is, just so like we get all the audience, everybody caught up to speed, explain exactly what you mean with that term.
Your greatest asset are the people that you just sold. And there are two types of salespeople working in the economy right now. Number one is the type that's too afraid to work and too lazy to steal, so they get into car sales. And the other is the kind of salesperson who understands that what they do is a career, but what they do more importantly than that is serve the public. And in 2008, everything changed with the economic meltdown, 6 years ago now, almost 5.5 years ago. Everything changed. And buyers and consumers, your customers, my customers, started realizing that their dollars were far more precious than ever before. See, right at that point, if you take sort of like a quick snapshot of history 5 years ago, we paid in the car business. I was in the car business at that time. And you and I paid huge lip service in the car business to finger quotes, customer satisfaction, and finger quotes, exceeding expectations. But it was all crap because nobody really did that. And so buyers, my customers, got really, really used to transactional deals. I mean, there are sales trainers galore that you can listen to, unfortunately, that are going to tell you the 85 different ways to jam someone into a car before they leave. And some sales managers still promote that kind of garbage thinking. But here's the thing. When you become a transaction to someone, when you're buying something, forget about the car business, but when you buy something and you become a transaction, you feel like a transaction. And you know what I'm talking about, Robert. You know what I'm talking about, Michael, that feeling of getting taken, not being valued, not being important in the process. You're just a dollar sign.
Right.
You don't go back,
absolutely.
right? You don't go back. And that's the way that it was in 2008 and 2009. That's the way that some car dealers, most car dealers, frankly, are still working today. And they're blowing their brains out on advertising, trying to get people in, when if they managed the relationships they already had, they would double their bottom line tomorrow. But they don't. And so I say, turn your customers, the people who you used to be transactional with, into raving lunatic advocates for what you do by treating them well, serving them graciously, being humble, and putting the customer before yourself, before the RDR, before the commission, before the bonus, before all of those things. Put the customer's best interest first, and you will grow advocacy.
But you got to be, I mean, being genuine is going to be super crucial in this.
Absolutely.
I mean, genuinely genuine.
It's all about authenticity. I mean, I've heard it said, once you can fake sincerity, the rest is easy. But that's bullshit. That doesn't work anymore. You know, oh, I'm sorry if I said bullshit. I apologize. You can edit.
Now you said it twice.
Okay.
It's all right.
All right.
Keep going.
Yeah, because I figure if we're on a podcast, we can say whatever we want, right? And it's bullshit to think, frankly, that if you are inauthentic, people can't read that. People read inauthenticity all the time. I mean, you walk into a place, like think about it. You walk into a store, any kind of store that's more than like a Walmart decision, right? And you walk into the store and somebody in a bad suit that smells like cigarettes, forgive me if you smoke, comes up to you and says, "Can I help you?" What's the answer? No, I'm just looking. I don't want to be bothered. And what they're really saying is, I don't want to talk to you because you're repulsive to me, you know? But if you authentically cared, genuinely cared about the person that was walking in, you didn't judge them. And I know I've heard never prejudge and never did, but you do it. Right? You do it. That's why you don't get up from your chair to go greet the customer when they come in. You quickly jump on your computer to pretend like you're doing something. You know, you pick up the phone, you jump on Facebook, you do whatever you can do to not authentically engage the client. They can feel that, right? When someone walks into the dealership, you need to go to that customer, look them squarely in the eye with a humble disposition and a positive energy and say, "Thank you for coming to ABC Motors. My name is Sean Moffett. Are you here to see a car, a truck, an SUV, or was there something particular you came to visit for?" You know, and that's different. It sounds different. It feels different. And the best place to close your deal is with the first impression. And the way that you do that is by authentically engaging someone with a caring disposition. You got to connect with them.
I mean, makes 100% sense. And I like the word track there. So why don't you let's hear that word track again. Let's try this greeting right here. Let's hear that again, Sean.
It's simple. You walk over to the person or the family, the husband, the wife, whomever. And by the way, if a husband and wife, man and woman, woman and woman walk in together, don't look at the guy and say, "Can I help you?" And totally, if there's a couple that walks in, by the way, if there's a couple that walks in, greet the woman first, okay? Because when you do that, the husband or boyfriend or whomever is going to realize they're dealing with a professional. They understand the deal. But here's how you do. You walk over humbly, graciously, with a positive gait. So you stand as though you didn't just get kicked in the nuts by somebody. You know, you stand with your shoulders back, your chest up a little bit, not bravado, but just confidence. You know, that humble confidence that you experience when you deal with an expert, you know, when you deal with someone who really knows what they're doing. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You've met those people, and immediately when you meet them, your being, I'm not trying to get airy-fairy, but your being almost rests a little bit. And you're like, you know what? This cat knows what he or she's talking about. I'm in good hands. I can relax a little bit. You know, you feel that and I feel that. So you walk over to the person, they come into the dealership, you say, "Welcome to ABC Motors." Not "Can I help you?" but "Hi there, welcome to ABC Motors. Welcome to Wiseman Motors. Welcome to Moffett Motors. My name's Sean Moffett. I'm here to serve you. Did you drop by to see a car, a truck, an SUV, something in our pre-owned department, or was there something specific you came to look at?" You know, and it's not, the answer can't be no. You know, the answer's got to provoke something. And it's going to sound a bazillion times different than the last 3 cats they came to see. Because the first thing that those people said was, what's your credit score? Can you fill out this application before I can tell you what car you're going to be able to buy from me today? You know? It's like, give me a friggin' break. Really? Like, that's where we are right now? It's 2014.
And it blows my mind that, you know, as the dealer, as the entrepreneur, as the business person behind those operations, that you don't see that weakness and really take advantage of it by preparing your people. Like, I just had like this vision, and being in dealerships and, you know, being addicted to educating myself, I never had like greeting training. Now, how hard would it be to get your whole team in the office together, and before a Saturday morning, hey, everybody, let's practice and let's try this when we greet the customers only today. You know what I'm saying? Boom, sit there and rehearse it.
Yeah, it makes
and it
perfect
costs
sense.
nothing. Costs nothing.
Well, you know what, Robert, I hate to interject, but it does cost something. Because what it costs is a dealer principal, a general manager, a sales manager to put their ego aside and recognize that they may know everything, but there's other things that can be learned as well. And to stand up in front of your staff and say, hey, look, you know what? I haven't done my job as a leader. I haven't shown you the right way. And I've allowed you to get into a habit that's actually hurting you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, as fundamental and as rudimentary as this sounds, we're going to practice some greetings right now. And it's going to feel weird and it's going to feel strange. And I know you're all uncomfortable with it. But look, if you can't do it here with me, with people who care about you, you're not going to be able to do it with the people who come through the door who I care about, you know, who are your customers and my customers. So it does cost something, but it costs someone willing to forego their ego for a moment and actually engage their staff.
Bam, and no doubt about it. And I tell you what, like right there again, guys, was another bomb that he dropped. He's giving you, you know, a scenario, a word track for you to humble yourself. If that's you, if that sounds like you, he's giving you the out right there. Gave you the lay down to him, and it's going to rally the team, and nobody's going to think of you any differently after it.
That's right.
So, I mean, there's some accountability on the part of the executives at the dealership, dealer principal, to, you know, kind of get the ball moving. I like what you said, put their ego aside. I mean, we see that a lot in the industry. You know, I'm a sales manager, you know, let me step up on my soapbox or ride my high horse. We see that a lot. What kind of accountability do we put on the individual salespeople or team members? I mean, you know, I think this message is resonating with a lot of people right now. I'm sure, you know, even in the Okanagan where I'm based out of, there's car dealers here, there's salespeople here who are going, man, how do I step up my game? What can I do differently? What's the starting point for them? I mean, you know, there's so many things I think that stand in people's way, you know, their own little fears or obstacles or whatever. Where do they get started? What's the first thing that a salesperson can do today to adopt this?
Okay, great question, Michael. Thank you for asking it. The first thing salespeople need to do, and look, I'm a salesperson. Okay, I have a confession to make. I got back on the sales floor February 1st. I'm selling cars today, and I'll tell you why. I'm selling cars today to prove that the sales training and the technologies and the way that I sell and train and teach people to sell works. Because it had been about 4 years since I'd been on the floor, and I wanted to be back on the floor proving that it works. So I'm doing both. I'm running the company and I'm selling cars on the floor. But here's how a salesperson should go about it. A salesperson should look themselves in the mirror. And I know this is really hard because I had to do it myself. So I'm not asking anybody to do anything that I haven't done recently. But look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I as good as I could be? And you're going to realize that the answer is no. Then the second question you're going to ask yourself is, what do I need to do to get better? And the answer is to train yourself to be better. You know, one of the things that I said off the top of the show is that salespeople are too afraid to work and too lazy to steal quite often, and that's why they get into sales. And I kind of say it and get a good laugh, but it's true. I have the most successful salespeople that I have met are not the slickest talkers. They're not the traditional sort of Wolf of Wall Street kind of guys or gals. They're the ones that work the hardest. They're the ones that care the most. And they're the ones that are willing to do whatever it takes. Unfortunately, I had to steal that line, but they're willing to do what it takes. How about that? What it takes.
There you go.
In order to learn what they don't know, implement what they don't normally implement, and improve. It doesn't matter what your career choice is. Whether you are in car sales or you've decided to be a sales trainer, you want to start your own company, you got a food truck, it really doesn't matter. If you don't practice your craft and hone your skills, you will fail. And so the first thing that a salesperson needs to do is to find a reliable source of training and literally dive into it head first. And salespeople are often unwilling to invest in themselves because the reason they're in sales is they have a very poor self-image. A lot of salespeople suffer with a lack of confidence. And so they fly into the sort of arrogance zone, right? Because to me, the antithesis of competence is arrogance. And they get a little arrogant and they think they know everything. I mean, I've met so many salespeople who think they know everything, and they don't. And so you've gotta be willing to invest in yourself because it's a great investment, and start slowly. Get some recommendations of people to follow on social media. That doesn't cost anything. And those people are constantly linking you to great articles and things that you can learn to improve yourself. Find some sales trainer that you connect with, that you believe in, not just the person who barks the loudest or, the person who has been at it since 1991 and is still training the same things, but find someone who's relevant to you, who you like, who you connect with, read their stuff, listen to their podcasts, watch their videos, get online. You could literally take all of my training for probably $100, if not for free, because I've put all of it out online for free, right? So for less than $100, you could take probably 3 different training technologies that would teach you how to sell 20 cars a month next month. But people don't do that. So that's what salespeople need to do, is invest in yourself, get out of your own way, get real with yourself about the fact that selling 6 to 8 cars a month is not okay, right? Don't be relying on your wife and your girlfriend or your husband or anybody else to be filling in the holes of your income. You should be filling in the holes of your income. And if you can't, it's because you're not working hard enough. Sorry to tell you. But managers need to take a stand too. See, managers are often those people who've hung around the longest and not gotten fired. So they know how to play the political game really well, and they know how to insulate themselves from any level of accountability. And as sales managers, that's an unfortunate deal because, frankly speaking, I look to you as my leader as a sales manager. I look to you as the person who's going to help me succeed. It's not my job as a salesperson to make your life easier as a sales manager. As a sales manager, it's your job to serve me as the salesperson and to help me be better than I ever thought possible. And that's not what sales managers are doing. So sales managers, take a look in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I really serving my staff? Do people actually come to work wanting to work for me? Am I giving these guys and girls the tools that they need to help me achieve my targets? And you know what? I bet you the answer is no. And if that's the case, you need to invest in some leadership training. Because just being around long enough in a dealership not to get fired, or being the guy that or gal that, sold a fair amount of cars, but maybe, wasn't the top salesperson. It's very rare that the top salesperson gets into management. You've not taken management training or leadership training. I don't know how many sales managers in the car business actually went to post-secondary education to learn how to be successful as a sales manager in the automotive business. It doesn't happen. So they've got to invest as well in leadership, in how to rally people, in how to get the best out of people, and how to be a servant leader rather than someone who's pulling people along.
Yeah, it goes further than just learning how to pencil up deals.
That's right.
Yeah. And I don't like, that's what I always questioned was, I've never was like a desk manager, but I always visioned, okay, if I was a desk manager, they're always like, you don't want to be there. You're going to make way less money with the amount of cars you sell. Well, my thoughts were, if I'm a desk manager and I'm paid off the nut of the team, I'm confident that I could build, the right team and a good functioning team. So they hurt themselves by not like creating rock stars out of their team members. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Pushing them as hard as they can. It makes no sense. The other
thing too, sorry, just to interject. And I love your points, Robert. You're absolutely right. One of the other things that I've learned in my career is that the best sales managers are not afraid of their staff. A lot of sales managers that I've met have to be that alpha person because they're actually afraid that if someone that they're working with becomes really successful, that they might take their job. Again, it goes back to that massive insecurity thing that a lot of salespeople have. And so as a sales manager, your job should be to build the best team and to push them. And here's the thing that you have to realize as a sales manager. The best of the best do not want to fly with a bunch of turkeys. They want to soar with eagles, right? They need to have accountability, targets, regular communication and conversation, regular feedback, not just when your GM tells you to do it, not just when they're about to get fired, but regular, consistent goals, game plans, and strategies. And the best of the best rally around that and make you look like a superstar.
And I mean, the other thing too here that I heard you say, I mean, you didn't right out come and say it, but you've talked about credible training.
Yes.
And I mean, that to me is a huge part. You need to know who to listen to, and it has to be someone that has either accomplished what you want to accomplish or has achieved what you want to achieve, or who you want to become. Mm-hmm. And you say that from the salesperson perspective, but you also say it from the leadership perspective. I do agree that sales managers need to let their ego aside, and they need to also be saying, like what you said, hey, am I doing everything I can? Am I serving my team? Am I a servant leader versus a high horse leader? And if not, I need to align myself with someone who can mentor me and can coach me and help me be who I need to be in order to get the most out of my team. That's so right. I love what you're saying about, your confession about you being back in the dealership, because that's, I mean, just a testament that, you can be you yourself, Sean Moffett, are someone that people can listen to because you're doing it.
That's right.
And you're proving it. And I think that's just something that everyone needs to keep in mind. I mean, that in the digital age, there's so much access to information. I can find information on anything that I want, but how credible is it? I don't know who's done what and if they're, a trustworthy source. So I like what you're saying. You need to line up with credible training, someone who's going to be able to show you how to do it properly. But more importantly, from the reverse angle, you need to know that person who you're seeking training from is someone who's actually has what you want.
That's right. And there's a couple other things to that, Michael, and I appreciate you saying that. The first thing that I would say is not all training works in all markets. And I say that specifically because, you're from British Columbia in Canada, and I'm from Toronto in Canada. And Robert, where are you from? North Carolina or something?
No, you always get me wrong, man. One time you say Massachusetts. I live in PA. I live in Pennsylvania.
So Pennsylvania is certainly much different than the Canadian market, but the Pennsylvania market is different than the Manhattan market, And so for me, I think it's very important that if you choose to listen to someone who's going to train you on how to sell cars, and they're selling cars in the style and fashion of a, Chopper from Vegas, and you're in in the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia, and your buyer is specifically and completely different, if you adopt the ways that this trainer is teaching you how to do things, it's quite possible that you just turn your buyer right off, because you've got to understand the market that you're in. So not all yelling, screaming, freaking out sales trainers are going to teach you the kinds of things that you need to know to be appropriate in your market and be successful. And frankly, I think that ship has sailed as it relates to salesmanship. But the question that I would ask too, and just further to your point, Michael, is social media is a beautiful and wonderful thing, and it's part of what I built my business on. But what I've noticed in social media, particularly over the last 12 months, is that everyone has become an expert. Everyone's a guru, everyone's an expert, everyone's a whatever,
Right.
And that's unfortunate. And someone asked me one time, they said, you're an expert in this. How long have you been doing it? And I said, I've had my company for 4 years, and I've been in the automotive business for almost 20. And they said, well, when was the last time you were actually in a dealership working? I said, 2010. And I lost the deal. And it made me think, it doesn't matter how much stuff I put out online, how big my following is, how many clients I have. If I can't actually affect someone today based on what they're going through, then I'm not an expert and I'm not a guru, and no one should listen to me. So be careful, be wary. There are lots of people who are telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing who haven't done it in a long, long, long time, if at all. And just simply being aggressive isn't the mark of a successful professional salesperson in 2014.
Very good. Very good.
So what kind of hookup do you got over there at your dealership now? Are you working like on appointment only type thing, or are you there? Are you building your business?
I am on the floor, taking ups, selling cars. And I started the 1st of February, and kind of, learned the product and the lay of the land, and got comfortable with things. And I have been the top salesperson in March and the top salesperson in April in the store. And I like to think it's because my training works, but it's more important than that. It's the way that I engage clients, the way that I engage customers. I use a formula or a philosophy kind of, which is connect, communicate, and then close. Right. So when people come in, I want to connect with them quickly. And it goes back to what Robert said at the beginning about being genuine, about being authentically interested in these other people. Do I like all of them? No, but I find something that I can like about them so that I can be genuinely interested. And if it turns out that, we just don't, there's just an energy clash right away and it's just not going to work, I'll give them to somebody else, because I know that relationships sell cars today. And if I can't get into a relationship with you, it's going to be really tough for me to sell you a car.
Very good.
Or help you buy one. So it's about first connecting, right? And then clearly communicating, which involves finding out what they really want. Why are they even at the dealership? Why did they choose to use up their time to come to a dealership and look for a car? Like, why would they even do that? And then what's the perfect solution? Because often what they come in to see, to drive, isn't what they really need, isn't what they're actually really going to use, right? That they often come in on that $99 biweekly ad, but that's not the car they need. That's the payment they want, but it's not the car they need. And you got to communicate in order to be able to figure that out. And then communication goes way beyond that, right? It goes through actually picking out the right vehicle, actually demonstrating, knowing your product and your job so well that you can demonstrate a product in such a way that people are actually emotionally connected to a car before they ever sit down to look at the numbers. If you can get someone to that point, The numbers are going to be important, but they're not going to be what you have to base your entire deal on. Because when you base your entire deal on the numbers, you lose. You may sell the car, but the customer is not happy because the only thing that they connected to was a payment. They don't even remember your name because 90 days later, if they come back for a service appointment, they can't remember who sold them the car. And you don't make any commission because you take a minimum deal to get a sticker on the board. And that's just not sustainable. You just can't do it. So you got to communicate in all facets. And then when you get back to the dealership, you keep communicating. And you communicate options and you communicate choices and you allow them the opportunity to shop with you. Because guess what? You sell more than just simply the brand that you sell. You've got a used car department. You've got other friends in the industry, right? There's lots of different ways to sell a car. When you stop focusing solely on how it's going to serve you and you actually start focusing on how it's going to serve the customer, you make more money, you sell more cars, you're happier, and you close more deals. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm literally taking, I had no leads, no ups, no customer book to draw from, and I just went in and I went at it. And here I am.
Sean.
Yes.
Let me ask you something.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to do me a favor? Why don't you drop me a page? What's a URL that people can go to get some of the free stuff you got floating around out there?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to youtube.com/T, so the Moffett C company, TMC Excellence. So youtube.com/TMC Excellence. That's my YouTube channel. There's over, I don't even remember how many videos are on there, but it's been viewed something like almost, I think, 13 million views or some crazy number like that. So there's a lot of that floating around. They can go to udemy.com, udemy.com. and search for me there, Sean Moffett, SeanMoffett. I have a course on there called Wow Factor Sales Training, and
Bro, I took that course, man. It's killer. That's available for free. Download.
I think it's $99, but I'm pretty sure they have a promotion, and
they always have sales.
Like 75% off or 80% off.
Yeah. Seriously, no exaggeration. They are always around 75% off. So even just search Google a coupon code for it, and I'll put the links in the show notes for everybody to get it. I know exactly where it is, Sean. I was on it. It's good. It's definitely different, and I got to play with this stuff a little bit, and it works.
I remember there was one particular thing that you did, and it was like immediately started selling more cars or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was where I started before, just switching around a couple things in the process and really getting to know exactly what they were looking for, what their language was, and what I mean, what their vibes were. I just shifted some things up. It was some time ago, man. Unfortunately, man, I've been away for a while, but yeah, it was somewhere in the process where I switched up the information gathering and just some kind of no-brainer type of things. So I'll link you guys to that. That's in Udemy. I'm making the note for it now. It's really good. And where else, Sean? Let them. We're gonna wrap this up, man. So where else can they? If
they can go to iTunes and I have a nationally syndicated radio show in the U.S. that gets sort of turned into a podcast, and you can subscribe on iTunes. Just search Sean Moffett, it'll come up, and you can also go to my website, themoffittcompany.com. I got all my blogs and everything there, and like past shows that I've done, and frankly speaking, you know what? If somebody listens to this and wants my audiobook, which is called The 3 E's of Selling, just send me an email and I'll just give it to you. I don't care. I'll just give it to you.
Awesome.
There you go. Info at themoffittcompany.com, and I'll give you the free book.
All right, everybody, and I'll put all the links to all that down in the show notes at thedealerplaybook.com, and that everything will be available there.
Love it. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. I kind of jumped the gun because you went on and there were some more power bombs in there, but certainly appreciate you taking the time. And, like you said, you gave us a bunch of places to hook up with you, and the free ebook, we'll link to that in the show notes. Thanks again. Anybody who wants to kick up their game needs to get hooked up with Sean Moffett, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Robert.
Yes, sir. Wow, and that was great. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the Sean Moffett Show. I mean, to the Dealer Playbook. Wow. But I mean, the guy, I'm just kidding though. He had so much to say, and this is exactly what I knew it was going to be.
Dude,
going into this.
I just kind of tuned myself out because I was like, what am I going to add to this? I mean, he started rolling, and I'm like, I'm done. There's nothing I can say that's going to enhance what he's doing, so I just got to let this guy fly. And I love the, it was like immediate action. We asked him some getting started stuff. We talked to him about what can happen immediately inside of the dealership to see the shift, to really shape a new experience for customers. And like, he just exploded. I mean, there was so much information coming out of that guy. I have 4.5 pages of notes here.
Yeah, he rocked it, and his delivery is so well. And I mean, this guy it was nice. I mean, we were on with a professional broadcaster. I mean, he truly is.
Which is probably why I also toned myself out, because I'm like, I got nothing.
It was a little bit intimidating going into it. I made a joke about it, but I knew that he knows how to carry it, and I think he did a great job. So look, all the links, all the training he talks about that he's got, you can get access to, and him saying he'll send you this free book. Just check the show notes at thedealerplaybook.com. Just click on this episode, Sean Moffett, and you'll have access to all that stuff. I mean, I had a blast, Michael. How about you?
That was so much fun. I want to have him back on again. Maybe we can just carry up the conversation. But hey, listen, if you haven't already done so, take a quick minute. Leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. We'd love to get your feedback about the show. And also, don't forget, click the subscribe button on either one of those platforms and visit us, thedealerplaybook.com, to check out the show notes, like you said, Robert. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep, take advantage of this offer from Sean. They'll be in the notes. Thanks, everybody.